Fairphone. And well, you've been exhibiting with us for the past 3 years now, I think. Do you want to
No,
go a little bit, dive
just
deep into the
yeah.
sustainability, or we talk a little bit, a small introduction about what is Fairphone and
Yeah, I just heard a lot of dropping names of sustainable CO2, etc. And that companies need to be aware that they need to be more sustainable. Especially large companies, they have KPIs. They need to be more sustainable. And first, they were looking on electric cars. They're looking internally, what can we do, etc. To be more sustainable, it's an easy way. Just buy a Fairphone,
yeah,
and that's really a thing what companies, especially the companies here around us, need to do.
yeah.
We are a Dutch company. We are always working with each other. We need to work with each other. So let's also help each other. And we have the most sustainable device in Europe. So
Yeah, because it's quite a special phone. I mean, it doesn't look only beautiful, because it really does, but you have this whole philosophy about this phone on how
yeah,
to make it sustainable. So, if I understood correctly, you really track all the different aspects
yeah.
of your phone, like where do the materials come from? Are they being produced in a sustainable way? How can you reuse certain components?
Yeah.
And when one component breaks, you can easily fix it, right? So what else, yeah, makes this vision and what you do so special?
Yeah, and coming back to your first question, how did Fairphone start? Fairphone started with an awareness campaign. Fairphone didn't start as a commercial company, but more like, okay, how can we change the electronic world? In this case, the smartphone business, but every business with an, what's the English word, a sticker?
A plug?
Yeah, exactly. Every material with a plug in it, and in this case, it is a smartphone, and that is still the DNA of Fairphone. Yes, we are a commercial company. Yes, in the end, the more devices we sell, the more impact we can create, and that is the whole purpose also of Fairphone. And at this moment, we are now existing 12 years. We have a device which really can compete with our competitors. And again, we do it completely in a different way. We want to be the most sustainable device, but also all the components. We want to know how can we get the most fair component in our device. Are we 100% fair? No, that is not the case right now. That is very, very difficult in the smartphone business. But every time we produce a new device or introduce and launch a new device, it is even more fairer than the other one.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have great people working on those things. That is really, yeah, the DNA of Fairphone, to say that.
Yeah, I find that quite amazing. I think that should be the DNA of more companies and more governments as well. That's the idea of, being careful with our planet, our resources, and so on. And so I think that's really, really great. And I also saw that you have kind of widened this expansion of devices. So you don't only have the Fairphone anymore, but you have earplugs and the headphones. Is that an ambition of you, that you are planning to kind of make a wider amount of devices with the same philosophy?
Yeah, we're getting from a startup, we went to a scale up, and I do think that we can say now we are really a company.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
And
12 years.
yeah, and we are not as big as our competitors, Apple and Samsung, but okay, maybe in a moment it will be. But
Yeah.
um, we are we are facing in the market, which is really a very fast market. But there are a lot of products we can be produced in the same way as we do with our smartphone.
Yeah.
And we choose for our headsets, in-ear buds and overband headsets, with the same philosophy. So repairable, so every part can be replaced, can be repairable, but also with fair materials. And I do think that, yeah, you mentioned some products. A lot of different products can be built in the same way, but we have to expand our portfolio. Yeah, what is in the range with our devices, of course. So
And how wide, yeah, because you talk about everything with a plug before.
yeah,
Is that an ambition of Fairphone, that you really want to, revolutionize the whole
that will be
electronic
great.
market?
That will be great, of course. Yeah, yeah. But then we need more audience. So more people need to buy our products, and the more people buy our products, the more impact we can create, and that is really very necessary nowadays, of course. Everybody see and hear the stories about what's happening in Africa. Yeah, and that's really happening. It's not that we something read in a paper or whatever. No, we've been there, we've seen those things, and we try to change that. And
Yeah.
it will only be a more effect if more people will think about it and
Yeah.
will use their smartphone in a different way. And you can use our device even very much longer than our competitors because we make sure you can use our device for at least 8 years because we support it for at least 8 years on security updates, software updates, and it is of course
Yeah,
a
that's
device
amazing.
which is modular, so you
Yeah.
can repair it in an easy way. So yeah,
No, that's quite impressive. And talking about more people and reaching more people, I heard you recently launched also in the States.
yeah,
So that's a great accomplishment.
definitely,
Congratulations.
yeah, yeah, thanks,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So how is that going so far?
Yeah, it's not part of my business, but
Okay.
of course we are a company, and then we see each other every day in the office, of course. So we are a smaller company, so we know exactly, or not exactly, but a lot of things going on. It is successful. It is the first step for us going over there with our audio products, not our smartphones, but our audio products, and we are quite satisfied. Do we reach the target we want to reach? Not yet, but we're really satisfied how it goes now. And it is for us the first step and to see, okay, are our products really in the market in the USA? Can we create there a certain market share, etc.? So it's a big game changer for us, but quite excited, that's for sure.
And is the US market ready for fairer phones? Is that because we have Trump, of course, who is a little bit less for sustainability, but I think that you entered the market and you're successful in it at least shows that the people in the States are open for new ideas. So,
Yeah, I do think every market is ready for a sustainable product if it's a smartphone or another product,
yeah.
and even also in the USA, and that's why we try to do this because we did market research, of course, and the market is ready, not only in the USA but a lot of
Everywhere.
big markets. But we have to do step by step. We can't be okay. We go everywhere around the world, so step by step we are creating markets for ourselves. Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. And another topic I was curious about, because well, we've had a recent event at Fairphone, and then we were discussing also about this idea of also a secure phone and security on phones in general.
Yeah.
And I learned from you, from some of your colleagues, that this is something you have extra focus on this year. So what is your vision on that, or where do you stand at this moment?
Yeah, what you see, and especially when I had the first conversations, for example, with government institutions, they always talk about security, 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 and um, our device is secure. We work with Google. We are Google certified, so we have a certain security on the device, like every other Android device. But it's depending what you want to do with it, and you can use other MDM solutions to make the device more secure. And if you look at the current status right now, more government institutions are using the Fairphone. And in the beginning, they said, no, it's not fair enough, it's not secured enough. And I said, okay, why not? And test it and try it out. And then they say, hey, it's just a smartphone like we can use. I said, yeah, of course. And now you see that more and more government institutions really see the benefits of a Fairphone, not only from security perspective, but also from a TCO, total cost of ownership. They can use our device longer, and the longer you use, the cheaper it will be in the end, and the more impact you will have. So
No, that's great. I'm really happy to hear that also the government is picking it up.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
and well, I'm gonna round up a little bit, but you're here also at the pavilion as exhibitor this
Yep,
year with an
yep.
amazing stand. It looks really, really beautiful. And well, how has your first 2 days been so far?
Yeah, great. It's great to be here. A lot of people coming by. They heard about us. They never seen us live or whatever. They never touched the product, and these are the moments that we can tell a lot about Fairphone, about our products. They can show it, they can test it, etc. They can have it in their hand and think, hey, it is a smartphone like all the others, but we have more to offer. We have a
Yeah.
lot of USPs, and those moments we can explain it to them, of course. And besides that, we have a lot of appointments, which we can have here in just in
Yeah, I
1 week.
know the meeting room wasn't enough.
Yeah, sorry for that. I just blocked again the meeting because you entered my meeting room, so I changed it again. Sorry for that. So
No, but I think it's fantastic, and that's why we're also here. And of course, we've seen you a lot in the media, and
yeah,
yeah, we're happy to support this, especially a sustainable future. It's part of our slogan of the Dutch Pavilion,
yeah,
even.
correct.
Powering a connected ecosystem for a sustainable
Yeah.
future. So I think Fairphone fits right into that vision.
That's for sure.
And
yeah.
I can only hope that it inspires more people and companies to think about the world, to think about how are we dealing with the world, and
Yeah, I do think it's important. But we can think, okay, it's not part of my concerns. I do think it's everybody's concerns right now, and if we don't do it now, I will not say we're too late, but at a certain moment we have to deal with it, and I think that's the moment that we really
exactly.
need to.
We have to make steps, and every
Correct.
steps counts in that matter.
Yeah,
And we can all start by just starting with taking a Fairphone when you're new, when you're ready for a new phone.
Yeah.
Just think about Fairphone
Use your old
as a
device as long
replacer.
as possible,
Exactly.
because that is the most sustainable way. And if your phone doesn't work anymore, change it into a Fairphone. That's for sure. Yeah.
I like that really that idea a lot, and I hope it inspires many other people.
Thank
Maybe are there any last questions? Yes.
How do you look at the right to repair developments from Europe?
Yeah, that's great, because we are a modular device, of course. And if you look at the right to repair in France, it's much bigger than the rest of Europe. And we work with iFix IT. We have a score 10 out of 10 because you can easily repair our device. And that's why you can use our device also much longer, because we are not glued as a device. So if you want to change the battery of other spare parts, it is easy to open and easy to repair. So, and hopefully all the other manufacturers will follow, because that is really necessary. But it is not their business case at this moment, of course, and that's the whole thing. So the regulation will be, the regulations will be stronger, then they need to go in that direction also. Yeah.
I like this idea of a Fairphone, a new business model where you indeed rent it and keep it repaired, and as long as possible keep it. Especially for governments, I think. It's
Yeah,
super
for companies
interesting
it's
idea.
really interesting, because why do you need to change every 2 or 3 years for a new device if you can
Absolutely.
repair it in an easy way? So.
Yeah. Well, great idea. I see that's coming maybe in one of the new versions of the Fairphone. Thanks very much, John, for
You're
being
welcome.
here today and sharing
Thank you
your
again.
story with us. And then we're moving to the next speaker.
Great.
Great
Thank you.
applause for John.